Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's poppin', fantasy champs? My name's Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
What's good?
Rick never came back to you with I feel like I'm cooking here. Never came back to you with a buy and sell show, even though I said it was going to happen.
You know what makes me kind of sad, though, is I had like a little list for my buys. You know who my number one buy was?
Who?
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh.
And I said this would probably be the last week you could buy him at a cheap price. Well, that was going to be my argument, but it's too late.
Too late for that. Because the person that has Jonathan Taylor is probably flying very high. They are probably losing their shiz right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of Jonathan Taylor trades this past week that were quite shocking to me.
Oh, my God. The one kid.
I wasn't going to mention his because he's getting flamed for it, and I feel bad.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad, but
at the same time, it's
I purchased the blue check mark just to see what it would look like, you know.
Did you?
I did. $8, man. And now they shut it down, so I'm officially verified on Twitter. Whatever. It's so funny because I'm like, it just tells you who pays for the thing.
I know.
So, anyway, he was actually verified prior to
He was.
that, and I could never figure out how he got verified because don't want to say anything about his fantasy advice, but it's not great.
I will say he's a hard worker.
Yeah, hard worker. I like hard workers.
Yeah, I like him.
Keep grinding. You just need
a very
to
nice
readjust
guy.
your process.
You know, it was just a very bad take, but that's okay.
Hey, it is what it is.
We have bad takes too.
Oh, but they're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good.
I mean, some of them are looking pretty good.
We
admit.
struck out a little bit, and I thought we struck out real bad. But after the last couple weeks, things have come back, so we're doing all right. Anyway, welcome to the Fantasy Jimmy's Fantasy Football Podcast. Today we're going to give you a weekly recap. We'll go over some of the players that had some big games, some players that didn't have some big games, and then we'll go through waiver wires to end the show. Before we do that, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, please, wow, I'm sorry, I'm sick. So I can't feel my lips anymore.
You're not allowed to talk when you're sick.
I guess so. Leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like and comment down below any questions you may have for us. All right. Let's do some breaking down of the week quickly.
Because we always do it quick.
And I know. And we'll talk about hey, look at this. Nobody this week. Oh, actually Malik Willis came in and played. Never mind. I was going to say it's weird because you see the backups come in.
Right.
But anyway, so we'll go through the quarterbacks first. Our QB1 on the week, we already kind of have put him in the QB top 10 at this point, and I would say maybe he's even top 5 rest of season for me at least.
I was going to ask you, we should probably say the name first.
Justin Fields, 40 fantasy points this week, QB1. I have him probably 5 right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I was going to say he's not top 5, but looking at this list right now of like rest of season rankings on Fantasy Pros, I'd probably have him 5. So
yeah, I agree. I like him better than Kyler too.
Yeah,
and Herbert and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, the one guy I think I think if Herbert has his receivers, he could be in that discussion. Kyler if he's healthy, and then Deshaun Watson, who knows? But I think right now you would think Fields has the edge over all those guys, based on recency bias. But
yeah, I mean he's been spectacular. Right. I will say I'm very nervous. Like the stretch of games that he has had, with the exception of the Dallas game, has been against easy opponents. And, I don't want to factor that in because, I mean, he was doing horrible against easy opponents early in the season. So,
yeah, Houston. I watched that Houston game in the beginning of the year, and he was awful.
Oh, yeah. But I think this is scheme-driven. I don't think this is driven by, the easiness of the opponent. I think passing-wise, he has more success against bad teams. But with the rushing, I don't think that changes from team to team.
Right, I agree with that.
It's very hard to stop a rushing quarterback, especially when it gets away from the pressure almost 90% of the time here.
It is kind of hard to keep up 150 yards rushing a week.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to do that every week. So, but again, he's doing that and scoring 40 fantasy points, right? So he's not getting 40 fantasy points a week, but if he can keep up what he was doing previously, like the 80 yards rushing, he was still getting 26, 24 fantasy points. I think that's more realistic. That's still top 5 quarterback play.
But this is one of those, because we got to move on, but this is one of those guys that we talked about being a breakout, and after 4 or 5 weeks of the season, I chalked him up as dang it, we missed this one. And this is kind of looking like Jalen Hurts from last year in terms of prediction, so I like it.
It is, yeah. It's Jalen Hurts 2.0.
Mahomes was QB2. Tua Tagovailoa. Oh, this is such a bad freaking scoring week for quarterbacks again.
I feel like you've said that every week.
It's just ridiculous. I feel like this. Maybe this is the first year I'm just looking at the top 12 every freaking week, but it doesn't look good. Tua had 23. I think he should be considered a top 12 quarterback rest of season.
Yeah, he is
of the top 12, but he's okay. Matt Ryan has 22 points coming back. Streamable option when he's starting.
Did you see any reports?
No.
Saying that he was going to start, because I did my fantasy pros rankings, and I had Sam Ellinger, and I was like, oh, wait, what? Matt Ryan's starting? I didn't even see that he was starting. Even like right before the game, I didn't see anything that he was starting.
Can I say something about the Colts?
I think they probably hid that from the media, but what's up?
And Jeff Saturday. First off, you can question the hiring of Jeff Saturday. That's fine if you feel the need to. All I saw on Twitter yesterday, because Jeff Saturday and the terrible Colts beat Josh McDaniels and the Raiders, and everyone was talking about how Jeff Saturday has, even prior to this, has zero experience, and how he's not going to be a good NFL head coach because he has zero experience coaching, and they applied that like it matters. Like, the guy isn't a Hall of Fame center that played with a top 3 quarterback all time and won 2 Super Bowls. Like he hasn't been in the room, and he hasn't been there. Like, they hired me to be the head coach, and I just figured it out.
It wasn't like they hired Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my God, they hired Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, I do get, like, I think it was kind of like a long term. I don't think it's a good hire.
Yeah.
But for what the Colts probably need, it might work, because Jeff Saturday is kind of like a Dan Campbell like coach, I think, where he's just like a football guy, and he's going to be a good locker room guy too. He's going to know how to get the players going, which is maybe something the Colts need.
He'll rely a lot on, and I agree with you. I think that's might be what the Colts need, because Frank Reich was very like, good guy. But
I think Frank Reich is going to be like Doug Peterson, where he gets another shot. And
he'll definitely get another shot.
Could have some success,
but Frank Reich is like a guy that's rules oriented. Stick to the plan, like X, Y, and Z, and that's what he does. And Jeff Saturday is probably like running around telling everyone they can do what they want, similar to how Mike McDaniel's doing it over there. But schematically, I don't know if there's anything offensively. Maybe there's something there for him. I don't know. But schematically, I don't think he provides a heck of a lot to the Colts.
No,
I think he's going to rely on his coordinators a lot. But being a head coach isn't necessarily about being schematically smart. Sometimes it works for some people, sometimes it doesn't. It's about leading men. So that's
right.
Jeff Saturday's good at that. So
true.
Let him do his thing. He probably can game plan. He's been around enough game
plan.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows? Maybe, I'm
smart.
Not going to write it off. I do think, beating the Raiders isn't necessarily something that's like he's all of a sudden a great coach, but
Cyborg arm Josh Allen gets QB5 on the week, 21 fantasy points. Somehow plays this week.
I think that's his worst game of the year, fantasy point wise. Oh, the last 2 of the last 3 weeks, kind of on a downward spiral, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
He has straight bad
1
games.
touchdown, 4 interceptions in the last 2 games.
Yikes.
Mac Jones has 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Just saying.
Mac Jones, better confirm.
You know what I'll say about Josh Allen really quickly? This is the drawback of having Josh Allen as your quarterback. There's not many of them. Actually, it's great to have Josh Allen. Wish I had him here in New England. That would be wonderful. But he tries way too much. Like he throws the ball all over the place, and he wants to win.
That's when he has his best success, is when he's like just dumping it off, and then he'll take the big play when it's there.
Yeah, it's like
when he's just trying to
take what's there. Like you don't need to run out of the pocket sideways and chuck it 60 yards. Like you just don't need to do that. It works sometimes for you, but it's just like it's very dangerous.
There's a time and a place for that. And that's what Mahomes has learned.
Yeah,
Mahomes doesn't really make those insane plays anymore. Only when he has to.
This is what Josh Allen was doing early in his career, and there was some question as to, and we'll see. He's been great so far this year in terms of like the offense and them winning, but he leads the league in interceptions right now. So, like the big thing for Josh Allen is like, is he regressing back to what he was pre-Dayball?
Right.
And it's just happening slowly over the course of the season, because if that does happen for him, they're ruining Josh Allen over there in Buffalo. But I think he's got enough in the head at this point to overcome that. So
we'll see. I think his schedule gets a lot easier. I know he has to play the Patriots, but he's got like the Browns and Lions next week. So I think those are 2 good makeup games for him.
Fantasy-wise, you can book that as 120-yard rushing.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, 21 fantasy points. He's back. Trevor Lawrence, it was good on Sunday, 20 fantasy points, so he had a decent week. Ryan Tannehill had 19, coming back from his sickness, finally. And then Aaron Rodgers having a decent week with 19. Geno, 10. Kenny Pickett, 11. Ooh. Kenny Pickett finishes QB 11 with 19 points.
50 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown.
Okay, that solves that. Mariota had 18 if you streamed him.
Ugh.
There you go.
All right. Isn't it gross that Mariota, 18. Danny Dimes, and Pickett were like in? I guess not Geno. He's kind of established himself at this point. Yeah. But those 3 guys were all good starts this week.
Yeah. Weird.
Very weird.
But, I guess it was consistent down the end. Like, if you didn't have Patrick Mahomes or Justin Fields, the difference between QB 16 and QB 3 is not that much.
Right.
So, there you go. Any busts that you want to hit on? I mean, Russ blows still.
Yeah, Russ blows.
Best game in a while, though. 15 points.
Justin Herbert, for sure, has
Oh, that's right. I didn't even
struggled. Especially in fantasy, because he doesn't really rush.
Yeah,
but
it's for him. It's I think it's reliant on. I think all the success we saw from Justin Herbert early in his career, and so far what we've seen in year 2 and 3 has been tied to. I think I don't think people want to believe this, but has been tied a lot to Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, whoever they have at tight end, like the talent around him. And now that talent's gone, they're asking Justin Herbert to do
it's like
a lot of things that he hasn't been able to do, or he's been able to do with all the talent.
And statistically speaking, like if you consider everything that's going on right now with the Chargers,
right,
he's kind of carrying the offense to stay in games.
Yeah,
but there's nothing that like last night, Gerald Everett got hurt. So they were throwing the ball to like Trey McKitty and DeAndre Carter, and this white guy was his name. He was like number 40 something, and he was playing receiver.
Brought him up.
It was insane. They had practice squad players out there playing receiver.
It's horrible,
wild. And then somebody tweeted out a list of the Chargers injuries.
Yeah,
I have to pull this up, if I can find it, but it's just insane. Side note, my cat is like trying to jump on my lap right now. This is tough. Let's see. Okay, so the Chargers. At the conclusion of the Chargers 49ers game, the Chargers were missing their RB2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 4, tight end 1, tight end 2. Their starting left tackle, starting right tackle, starting defensive end, their third and fourth defensive ends, their edge rusher, their third edge rusher, their top corner, and kicker.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that in the NFL, you need talent.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about some running backs. We have JT coming back at you, baby. 24 fantasy points. Just mentioned him a second ago, so we don't have to spend much time on him. But he was the RB1 overall in leagues, has had a terrible go about it. I don't think this is a Jonathan Taylor. Like, he's obviously dealt with injuries and other things as the season has gone along, but their offensive line is freaking awful. Like, it's terrible. And I don't know what happened to it, and maybe it'll improve over the next couple weeks, but you know, I mean, hey, you got an offensive lineman as your freaking head coach, so I would hope the offensive line improves.
Yeah, you would think.
But Jonathan Taylor does return to action, something that Rick and I, did we say this pre-show or was this on the show? Jonathan Taylor with, what's his name? Yeah, I think we said it on the show already. But
yeah, I think so too.
Jeff Saturday is going to rush the ball a lot more than his predecessor. Because he knows that's how you win football games with the Indianapolis Colts at this point.
Dude, I didn't realize, maybe we'll get to some of these guys, but a lot of running backs put up like the same numbers, huh? This week?
Oh, yeah. Yep. It always ends up being that way. You're right. It's literally the top 7 are like 22 fantasy points. Not a big week for a fantasy point getter for a running back. To be fair,
no, but a lot of guys putting up 20+ points.
So, John Taylor was RB1. Aaron Jones comes back, RB2. James Conner making a little bit of a resurgence. I feel like this is only because Colt McCoy was the starting quarterback. They didn't have Kyler.
I think that's going to go down.
So James Conner, that's not going to happen.
Colt McCoy better than Kyler Murray? Question mark.
Yes, it's because he shows up to meetings. No. I'm so excited. I forgot they're doing an in-season Hard Knocks again this year.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I'm ready to watch the first episode. Did you see the clip of Buda Baker crying because they're not winning?
I did not.
Oh, it was crazy. He was like screaming at the team in the locker room after they lost last week, saying like,
"Oh gosh,
I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of doing this." And then Kyler Murray's out, and they won.
Yeah,
maybe that's your problem.
Interesting.
Dalvin Cook was RB2. I mean, the RB4 on the week with 23.6. I celebrated a little bit for you in the home league internally when Dalvin Cook broke off that like 60-yard run. I was like, there you go, Rick.
Yeah, desperately needed that.
5-5 now. I told you. You still got hope.
I'm hoping Chase comes back this week, and then we could
maybe
make a trade, see what happens.
Ooh. Trading with me, Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, you want to give me Saquon?
I'll give you both Miles Sanders and Tony Pollard.
Did Zeke tear is Zeke done for the year? I'll do it if Zeke's done for the year.
I'm holding on to Pollard if that's the case. If something happened to Zeke,
I know.
Pollard's like a top 10 running back, which is ridiculous. Saquon Barkley, RB5, Josh Jacobs, RB6, Jeff Wilson. Since they traded for Jeff Wilson, this has been clear that they want to get him involved, and Raheem Mostert is now the backup. But they split right down the middle because Raheem Mostert was RB10.
This just makes me wonder, like, how bad was Chase Edmonds? Or did he just not understand? Like, did they hate him, or was he bad?
I don't know, but the stupid part is that they brought 2 San Francisco running backs over here, and it's like at some point, Mike,
and it's working.
You're gonna have to find a zone scheme running back of your own, and not
bro. Elijah Mitchell, he's next one. He's future.
No, they want to split carries.
They're gonna have a 3-way backfield next year.
Did you see how much split back San Francisco was running last night?
Yeah.
People are confused. They just see 2 running backs next to Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're like, oh, no. Who are they throwing it to? I don't know. Are they going to run it? Which direction are they going to run it? We don't know. 49ers Super Bowl win coming up.
I mean, they're going to be there. They're going to be in the mix. Yep. That's all I'm saying.
Tony Pollard, RB8. I don't think Zeke is going to miss any more time, considering that the owner has been freaking pulling his pants off.
Jerry Jones wants
not
LA
just
to get
taking
30
his
carries
pants off. He's taken his underwear off, too, and he's just dropped them both to the floor, and he's like, Zeke's our running back. So
it's unbelievable because Pollard, at this point in their careers, is the better player.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. And Zeke's my guy.
There was a video of Zeke from like 4 years ago getting like a 80-yard touchdown run, and I was like, "Holy crap, who is this guy?"
Yeah. No, he used to have explosiveness. But Pollard looks good for Dallas. Like, he looks stellar. And if Zeke does miss any amount of time and Tony Pollard becomes the starting running back, all bets are off. I would hope that they paid so much money for Zeke that they have to use him, but I want to see Mike McCarthy use Tony Pollard more than Zeke, because that would be great.
Right.
But Donta Foreman has another good week. I don't know anymore with Donta Foreman.
I don't know anymore either.
It's just, I can't figure it out. But he continues to have success. He's their goal line back, that's for sure. So if they get into the red area, they're going to use him and get on the goal line.
I will say I was I will admit I was wrong in terms of, and I don't know if this was just because it was his first game back or they really like Foreman that much more, but I thought it would be more of a split between him and Hubbard, and it wasn't. Hubbard only got an 18% snap percentage.
Chuba! Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I already talked about Mostert. McCaffrey had 17 points, RB 11. If they keep using Mitchell the way that they are, I do actually think that is going to damage a little bit Christian McCaffrey.
It will.
And the only reason why I say that is because I think he's still going to get like 20. He'll have 20, 25 point games, but this is why I was saying to you, and I didn't predict the Elijah Mitchell thing because I did think they were going to use him more. But this is why I was saying to you, Rick, when they made the trade, that McCaffrey was going to end up being virtually the same as he was value-wise in fantasy football, as he was on Carolina, which is like RB 2 to 5. It's like you watch Barkley's game and then you watch McCaffrey's game, and it's like all they do is feed the ball to Barkley for the Giants.
Right.
And for McCaffrey, there's going to be some form of a split there. They like to use multiple running backs. So McCaffrey will be utilized a lot, but right now he's, we'll see. We'll see if it affects him. Like it might not. They might just go into games and give McCaffrey the ball and get him 42 points. I mean, if they're giving him a workload like he had in Carolina, he's going to have 30 points a game.
Yeah. My whole thing with McCaffrey wasn't, I think it is possible that he would get less work.
Yeah.
I just thought he'd be really efficient with the work because he's playing with San Francisco, but he was not at all this week. Only 2.71 yards per carry.
Yuck.
So that's concerning to me because it's like you have this elite offensive line, you're only getting 2 yards carry. Some of that was because he had like 2 plays where he got like blown up in the backfield and lost like 6 yards. So I wonder what it would have looked like without those. But
what if he shifts into a new role where he becomes like they use Mitchell and Debo to run primarily, and then they use McCaffrey.
Yeah, let's use our receiver to be our running back and our running back to be our receiver.
I don't know. What the hell? They just do what they do over there. But what
honestly,
if McCaffrey's what if he gets like 7 carries a game and he gets 10 targets a game?
The way that
I'm okay with that.
The way that Kyle Shanahan is, and the type of players that they have, they realistically could do something like that.
Yeah.
Where you just switch off like Debo, Elijah Mitchell, and McCaffrey in the backfields. And then you use McCaffrey in the passing game more, Debo in the running game more. And it's going to be confusing, but for real football, it's going to be great for their offense because you just don't know what's happening at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for their offense, but fantasy-wise, like if he's getting 7-8 carries a game, and like he's essentially another Debo.
He will get that. I don't think. I think at worst he gets what he got last night, which is 14 carries.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's talk about some bustonies up in here. DeAndre Swift and Derrick Henry both had 8 points. Swift has been concerning since coming back. It's clear that they're trying to like ease him in. Henry every once in a while has a bad game, so you can ignore that. But I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about Swift. I have him in plenty of teams, and I'm waiting for Dan Campbell to get the leash, give him the pink slip and get him out of there.
It's really bad. Oh man, this is kind of a surprise. The Cardinals just released Eno Benjamin randomly. He's been playing pretty well. That's kind of weird.
Weird.
Anyway, with Swift, Yeah, I've told you before, and I think I've said on the show, I think
Yeah.
it's one of the most annoying things this year in fantasy is how the Lions are using Swift. And they are trying to like ease him back into it. But it's been 3 weeks since he's come back. Why is he still getting a 30% snap percentage? Like, you're not easing him in anymore. This is just how you use him. Is it going to change the rest of the season? I really don't think it will at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm legitimately concerned. I mean, I hope it does. But now, granted, he didn't have a great game this week. He had 6 carries for 6 yards. So, like...
Yeah, I mean, when it's not
it didn't help his case.
But see, that's like, the thing. It's like sometimes you have a running back like Barkley, and they just feed you the ball no matter what. We don't have another guy, so just give him the ball. If he's getting 2 yards a carry, eventually he'll break one off. Swift, they don't view him as that. So they like Jamal Williams. They like DeAndre Swift. Right. And if DeAndre Swift's not efficient in a game, they're not going to say, oh, try to figure it out with 5 more carries. They're going to say, let's get Jamal Williams in there because he's more efficient this game.
But Jamal Williams isn't even like...
No, I know he's not. I'm just saying, like, that's how they view it.
Right.
So Alvin Kamara was RB31. He had 7 points. New Orleans kind of doesn't look good, but I think Kamara, if you have him, is just going to be this roller coaster ride all season. So good luck. I don't have him in a league.
Yeah. I mean, he might be a good buy option, but it's a little concerning.
A.J. Dillon sucks.
Yeah, he hasn't scored double-digit fantasy points since week 1.
David Montgomery sucks.
Yeah, he's he's
fallen off a cliff. I love you, Monty, but it's over.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cordero Patterson had 3 points coming down to earth.
We should talk about Patterson. He's gonna get 25 next week, so don't worry.
Oh dear God. Kareem Hunt had 2.
We gotta talk about the number 1 bust though.
Oh, I know. I'm getting there. I'm scrolling down the list this time. I usually scroll up and go backwards. I think the number 1 guy, we'll just jump to him, is Clyde.
Yep.
0 points, two opportunities, I think, in the game. He's dead.
He did not have a carry.
Pacheco had 17 though, or 16.
I don't really get that.
They like him.
But like, okay, you can like Pacheco, but why give Clyde 6% of the snaps? He had 4 snaps in the whole game.
Maybe there's an injury. What I don't understand is like there comes a point where you have to give up on a player, but where in Andy Reid's mind has Clyde Edwards-Helaire gone from like first round pick to I'm not going to play him at all because I think he sucks? Because he hasn't really been bad when he gets the ball.
Yeah,
he's been better than Pacheco rushing. So like I don't get it.
Has he been better than Pacheco rushing? I'll have to check. Yeah, they've been about the same. I mean, this week Pacheco did have 5 yards.
When I watch Clyde, I'm like, there's nothing. Like Clyde's not great, but there's not enough there to be like, well, you know what? He blows. Let's put the undrafted rookie in.
Right. I don't know if you want to sound breaking news because it's not huge, but more news on the Cardinals. Okay. And we already knew this guy was hurt, but Zach Ertz is out for the season.
Whoa!
Breaking news.
Yeah, he got hurt in the game, and it looked bad at the time, so people thought it might have been like that. But yeah, I think
that means a lot to people because he's been
So I was gonna say, like, this might not seem huge, but he's been a top 5 tight end this season.
What are the Cardinals doing everything all at once? I'm still waiting for Josh McDaniels to be fired. It's 1:00 in the West Coast.
I know. We'll see.
Anyway, all right, let's talk about some wide receivers.
All right,
quickly.
Good boy. Look who's number 1.
CD! CD's been good this year.
Had him in my DFS lineup, $125.
Hold on a second. I want to check. What is he on this season? CD Lamb.
Wide receiver 8.
Wide receiver 8. All right, finally. Everyone was roasting CD Lamb.
I was definitely roasting him first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, wide receiver. He had 38, wide receiver 1. I think he's definitely a top 7, 8 wide receiver rest of season.
Yep.
So I loved having CD. Dak having him back is huge for CD Lamb too. And then also having Michael Gallup, like he blows, but having him back is causing defenses to focus.
I know. I had a lot higher hopes for Gallup going into this season, and he's just not.
I think he might be better next year. Like you come off those injuries.
Yeah, coming off the torn ACL.
Yeah, it's tough. Christian Watson, breakout game, 3 touchdowns, 32. Yeah, he scored. He scores, and he goes 1, 2, 3 to the camera. Is this enough for Aaron Rodgers to be like, all right, this is the guy?
I gonna say yes and no. I think it's enough for him to be like to trust him now,
Yeah,
and for him to get targets. I don't know if it's gonna be like this rest of season.
Yeah,
I know Romeo Dobbs is out for a couple weeks, and I think this is gonna really help. And Randall Cobb, who Aaron Rodgers, is best buds with, is out, so he's good for like 5 targets a game even when he comes back.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be more traffic later on in the season, but at least for the next couple weeks, I am a fan of Christian Watson. I think he maybe not put up 30 points a week because he feels kind of boomer bust like, but
I do like him. And I think the one thing that he does is that, like, when you watch him, I mean, he's still got some things to figure out as a rookie because there's been plenty of drops, but he does look like speed-wise, athleticism-wise, he looks like a super young version of Devontae Adams. So, like catching the ball wise, he's not even close to Devontae Adams. It's not even funny. Like he's got to get in the get in the lab.
He had a drop before he scored the 3 touchdowns.
He had a massive dot. He should have been 4.
He had a drop over the middle, and then Rodgers went right back to him, and he had another drop.
Oh my God.
He had two drops in 2 plays.
Yeah, but
I was like, oh my gosh.
At this point, I think he's their best receiver, and they got to give him.
I do, and a lot of that was in the second half. Like he really took off.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes in a game, like for a young player.
Yes, and I agree with that.
Is to feel it once and then be like, all right.
And then the Packers won too, and like it was real. Like there's definitely real momentum for Christian Watson.
And the other thing that benefits Watson from that quickly is the fact that they won the football game. Rodgers felt confident to throw him the ball. He had a very good game, and it's to the point now where Rodgers is probably going to be like, all right, I'm going to have to deal with some stuff with this kid, but I like him, and I'm going to throw him the ball. For you Lazard people, take the out.
Pound sand.
Pound sand. Yeah. Christian Kirk had 31 fantasy points.
Well, you missed Justin Jefferson, and maybe the best catch of all time. 4th and like 20.
Oh, dear God. That guy is
It won them the game.
Else. It did. It won them the game. Now, they tried really hard to not win it.
They did.
Including getting to 4th and 18.
But
they had no business winning that game, by the way.
No, they didn't.
No business winning that game.
The Vikings have no business being 8-1.
Weren't they losing 24-7?
I think it was 27 to like something.
So I'll say this. I'm on the train. Let's go.
Okay. All right. My off-season takes of
Vikings, Super Bowl bound.
Oh, really?
They can. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I think they can rip the drawers off the 49ers.
Big Cat said this, and pardon my take.
Barstool
and
showed
it's a very funny show, but they were like, the Vikings really aren't as good as they should be, which scares me because they're going to, in the playoffs, they're going to be like, they shouldn't win this game, and then they somehow win. It's just like one of those magical seasons.
But who's like, okay, you got the 49ers and the Eagles.
Yep.
I think Minnesota can
even the 49ers are what, 5-5, 5-4.
With that being said, I am taking Mac Jones and New England Patriots in prime time against the Vikings.
Honestly, dude, I don't think like the Vikings are what, 8-1 now, 7-1.
Yep.
I feel like they should be like a 5-3 team or like a 6-3 team. Like they're not.
Yeah,
as
I
good.
agree. I don't think they're a 14-win team, so I think it'll come down to earth. But that's a big win against a real team.
Oh yeah.
So, and they had their starting quarterback. So,
right.
Who they got to puke all over his own cleats.
So,
right. But Justin Jefferson, absolutely absurd. One-handed catch of the year, catch of the decade, catch of the NFL. Like that was insane. He was freaking manned up. The corner had the ball in his hands, and Jefferson with one hand was like, "No, that's my first down."
Right.
Insane. That guy's feeling himself.
And especially like the situation, because like the Odell catch is going to be known forever as like the one hand catch, but based on situations, the Jefferson catch I think is
it's better,
more impressive.
I was going to say, so I play in a Madden league, right? And as soon as that catch was made. In the Madden League, somebody messages and says, "Can I trade for Justin Jefferson?" I was like, this is happening in a Madden league. This is not even fantasy.
I need him in my Madden league.
And I was like,
based
no.
on the catch.
I'm like, no, I'm good.
You have him?
I'll keep that. Yeah, it's my guy.
Okay, lit.
Yeah, I'm playing with some abilities on him, but he's my guy. So he looks he looks like a much different player in Madden than he does in the real life. So they need to work on that. But anyway,
Christian Kirk, as you were saying.
Christian Kirk, 31 points. I think this happens from time to time, but I think he's just going to be a boomer bust, like Mike Williams mini.
Agreed.
Nick Westbrook-Klein, no way. Devontae Adams had 27. Stephen Diggs had 24. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 22, so back at it with Amon-Ra. He looked good.
There you go, Amon-Ra.
Gabe Davis had 21, one of his boom games. Next time, maybe. Only tip I would give, Jeff Saturday is to tell us when Matt Ryan is starting so we can just not drop Paris Campbell.
Yeah, look at that, Paris Campbell.
20 points. I mean, hey, no, when Matt Ryan is playing, Paris Campbell is elite. He's at 220 points.
I know.
with Matt Ryan at quarterback.
Because he just dumps it off
is
to him.
Not playing. Yeah, this is true. So,
Week 7, he had 10 catches for 70 yards.
I like Paris Campbell rest of the season. And then we have D-Hop with 19, Chris Godwin with 19, Tony had 19. Wanted to touch on him. He's very good. I'm excited to see what he does when they start getting him more involved. It's going to be a slow increase because I think he needs to learn things. And I don't actually think the breakout is going to happen until next year for Tony because once he gets on the same page as Mahomes, all bets are off. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver for them. But did you see the sideline catch that he made?
Yeah, where he adjusted his gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think Tony's I've always liked the player. Mm-hmm. And I think some people are down on him because the nerd people, the pure statistic people.
Yeah.
Not to call you out, but he didn't have great college production, and I've always kind of been down on him because of that. But he's one of those guys that's you just gotta watch him play for one game, and
you jerk.
I'm just saying, all right. I'm just saying,
college production, baby. No, I watch film from college, and then when it gets to the real game, I go into those PFF numbers.
Right. But some people are down on him because of that. And then, he hasn't had great NFL production either. So it's well, the production's not there. He's just not a good player. Yeah, but now the production is going to come.
That's BS.
The production's definitely going to come with it.
Yeah, right. And I think, too, I was telling Rick pre-show, Tony has, he has the athletic traits and abilities similar, not in terms of speed and stretching the field, but in terms of after the catch, has kind of the same traits as Tyreek Hill. So, yeah, they're going to utilize him in the same way. It's just there's a lot of off-schedule throws that Mahomes makes, and that you have to, he's going to have to figure out where to be on the field. So Mahomes, that connection that Mahomes and Tyreek had. If Tyreek was thrown on the field today, not being with him all season, Tyreek and Mahomes would just be able to know what to do. I don't think Tooney's at that point yet, but when he does get there, all bets are off, man. He's going to be great. I have him pegged as a 23 breakout already, so
there you go.
Love it. Allen Robinson, 8 points, busted his brains out again.
Does he count as a bust?
I don't know. That's a decent performance. Allen Lazard had 7. Okay.
There's a lot of receivers.
Deebo Samuel's been coming down to earth, and I actually think low-key Christian McCaffrey trade hurts Deebo Samuel the most.
I kind of agree with that.
Not good news for Deebo. So I tried to trade for him, but right now he's ranked ECR rest of season rankings on Fantasy Pros as wide receiver 18, and I think that's going to go down even further. But he's been wide receiver 16 to 18 pretty much all season after week 3.
He's wide receiver. Yeah, he's down to wide receiver 21 now.
So I'm concerned.
I'd buy him at that asking price.
Oh yeah, 100%. Chris Olave had 7. Rookie doing rookie things over there.
Yeah, he's still. I think is going to be fine, but
Juju got toasted with a head injury. Hopefully he's all right. I haven't seen anything. I would assume it's just a concussion and he's all right.
Cooper Kupp 3 fantasy points.
Oh, wow, that was so. When did he get hurt in that game?
According to his snap percentage, I would say third quarter.
Oh my God, he
usually plays 100% of the game.
He was at 67%. That's Matt Stafford not being there. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So
I mean, their whole offense was. I mean, they lost to the freaking Cardinals with Colt McCoy. So the Rams absolutely blow. They went all in for 1 year.
I know, and like honestly, I personally don't think, because I think that's the last guy we're going to talk about, unless you see anyone else.
There was a guy that I wanted to mention. No, I guess I'll just rapid fire. DJ Moore still sucks.
Blows.
Amari Cooper had a bad week.
Yep.
And then I guess that's really it.
All right. Tight ends really quickly. Cole Kmet, tight end 1. As long as he's healthy, I think he's a perfect pickup. I think we'll talk about him this week if no one picked him up yet. I really like Cole Kmet rest of season. The breakout might be upon us. He's tight end 10 right now, and he hasn't really been good, but these 2 weeks have ascended him into that position. It's a lot of touchdowns, but I think Kmet has the ability on a week-to-week basis to get 10, 11, 12 fantasy points, especially with the target share he's been getting.
I'm going to need Cole Kmet to finish as a top 9 or 10 tight end for my fantasy offseason takes.
Yeah.
I don't care how he does it.
Travis Kelce, 20 points again. Dalton Schultz has a decent week, 17.
Schultz with Dak has actually been pretty
Schultz
decent.
With Dak is a good combo. Juwan Johnson keeps coming out of nowhere here in New Orleans.
Yeah, he's Andy Dalton's guy.
Andy Dalton's guy.
3 of his last 4 weeks, he's gotten double-digit fantasy points.
Tyler Higbee with 15. Foster Moreau with 13. Hawk with 11, so not a great performance this week, but
getting the targets.
He's getting the targets. 19 targets in 2 games, so like that for TJ Hawkinson. Got to keep getting him the ball. Harrison Bryant's been more involved for Cleveland, which is good.
No Njoku,
so that's definitely. How long is he out?
I think he should be back this next upcoming game.
Okay. And then as far as busts are concerned, holy crap, a lot of tight ends targeted this week. Jeepers creepers. Not a lot of busts this week.
We're finally done with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, toss him in the garbage can.
0 fantasy points.
Bob Tonyan keeps burning my butt. So
yeah, he'll get a good week and then he'll get 2 points.
I think the bust of the week though is probably George Kittle's 3.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. Very disappointing.
You know what stupid? Juwan Johnson's come out for New Orleans and Adam Trotman's just dead.
Yeah, he kind of might be dead. Greg Dulwich, I was on the train. A lot of people were on the train.
Did he not?
Only had 2 fantasy points.
Okay, well, it is what it is.
Gerald Everett, not really his fault. He got hurt, but also was heavy on the train. He got hurt in the first quarter. So,
all right, let's move on. Let's do. We're already deep into this.
Super quickly, Kyle Pitts.
What did he do? I thought that was
4 fantasy points.
Of course.
8 targets, 2 catches.
Good stuff.
That is unbelievable.
All right. Let's move to the waiver wire portion of our show. Now that you're up to the times on the information that
you never sent me the show notes. I'm gonna have to look up the.
Oh, I sent them to you. Literally, it says they sent to you. All right.
Are we sure about this?
Yes, positive.
I have last week's show notes.
Excuse me. Bear with me while I sneeze.
I had to refresh my.
All right. So let's talk about the quarterback position. At this point in the year, there's no one that's gonna be like a potential breakout rest of season option. We're 11 weeks into the season. The only guy that I would say that could possibly be that is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to look like for Cleveland. I'm so glad that they keep losing games because their playoff chances are in the toilet at this point. Unless they win like 10 straight or whatever it is. What do we have? 8 weeks to go? 8 straight?
Yeah. I believe so.
What is their division? We have the Bengals and the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not making the playoffs this year. So Watson coming back is good. I mean, for fantasy, if you want to pick him up. The only other guy is like what is this good streaming option for you, Rick?
Oh, dude, I was trying to look and it's all kind of crap.
But there'll be a guy, guaranteed.
If he's available, I don't mind Garoppolo. He's been getting decent fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
Really since the McCaffrey trade and even right before that.
Mm-hmm.
That offense is really good.
Yep.
So I don't mind that. And he's playing against Arizona, so it should be a good matchup. Depending on how Monday Night Football goes, because we're recording this right before Monday Night Football, Carson Wentz is probably eligible to return this coming week, and they play Houston. So if he comes back and is the starter, I think he'd be a good stream.
How does that affect tonight's
But they
game?
might roll with Heineke.
Oh, they're playing Washington. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like a streaming option, whether it's Wentz or Heineke?
Yeah, but less so with Heineke.
Okay, fair enough. I think Matt Ryan should be on your radar if he has a good matchup. I don't know if he has a good matchup this week, but just keep him in mind. And then Mariota is always a good.
He's got Philly.
Yeah, it's not a good matchup.
Do you like? I'm forced to start him this week, and he's probably not on the waiver wire.
Yep.
But I mean, he might be. Aaron Rodgers against Tennessee.
Hey, A-Rod?
Yeah. Do you like that? Asking for a friend.
Against Tennessee?
Yeah, it's a green matchup.
It's mid. But I'll do it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right. Any other quarterbacks you want to hit on?
No.
Tanmai Hill might be a decent play now that he's back, but I don't.
He's playing Green Bay, so
this one, I don't know. That scares me a little.
It does, yeah.
Let's talk about some running backs. Number one has to be Rachaad White. Whatever waiver budget you have left, dump it on Rachaad White. I don't know if there's going to be receiving production there, but it's clear that they are starting to try to get White the ball a little bit more. Rick's reports last week were right.
You say it like I reported it.
And, well, you didn't, but you had the info. See, a lot of people don't do research, and then you probably pick up Rachaad White, and they're like, why are you doing that? Because I did my research, guy.
The inside sources.
Info. You follow the right
Rick's
people.
Inside sources.
Yeah. Right. Rick's inside sources. So
I just see a bunch of crap on Twitter, and sometimes
should I make an audio effect for Rick's sources?
Yeah. We're gonna talk about Rick's sources today.
Yeah. So Rachaad White, though, we'll have a whole segment on it. But Rachaad White is a great pickup. I would dump whatever waiver budget you have left on him, and do that.
Yeah. Never root for injuries, but I did see Fournette was battling a hip injury at the end of that game, and I was low-key hoping
on that.
But
pressure point.
He's apparently going to be fine. So, but yeah, I mean, they clearly like White, and they want to get him more involved. I do wish he had passing game work because he had 0 targets this week, which is very rare for the Buccaneers to have 0 targets to one of their running backs. And I don't think he's going to get 22 carries a week. I think, to be honest, it's going to be really a split, which is kind of gross. But he's definitely going to be worth rostering, and potentially could be a flex on a week-to-week basis, especially in PPR leagues, because even though he didn't have any targets this week,
I blanked out.
I think it's going to be a 50-50 split. Maybe Rachaad White is like 55-45.
Oh, you're talking about Rachaad White. All right.
Yeah.
My brain shut off. Sorry.
But I don't think he's going to take over the backfield. But I do think they want to get him involved, and they clearly show that they did. He out-touched Leonard Fournette, and I think he could be a good flex from this point on.
Yep.
Especially in PPR leagues, because as I was saying, he didn't have any targets this week, but he is a good pass-catching running back.
I like Pacheco. I wouldn't put a lot of waiver budget on him, but I think he's a decent play.
Yeah, I think he should be added in leagues that are like ours, where it's a 12-person league. But I don't know how much you want to put on him, because they're still kind of a three-headed monster there.
Right.
And even if you take Clyde out of the picture, they used McKinnon a lot. So
yeah, in the passing game.
But he should be picked up.
Pacheco will probably be, if they really don't like Clyde, Pacheco will probably be like a 15 to 16 carry a game guy. It's just a matter of, like, he doesn't get any pass catching work.
Zero passing game work.
Right, you're capping yourself to a touchdown if you start him, but I think it's a decent ad for bench play. Outside of that, I don't like any of these running backs. Jerick McKinnon maybe with pass catching, but I don't. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, I think it's really just White and Pacheco.
Okay. Let's move to the wide receiver position quickly. Obviously, 6% of leagues, Christian Watson is owned. He needs to be at, like, this is the two main guys this week are White and Watson. Right now, if you're listening to this show, just go scour your waiver wires for those two and try to add both of them. Watson, I think, could be one of those breakout, second half of the season breakout wide receivers that we typically see for rookies.
Right.
We saw that with Brandon Ayuk his first year. We saw it with last season with Amon-Ra St. Brown. This could be this year's Amon-Ra, Christian Watson. So just keep an eye on that. But I definitely would pick him up.
How much would you be willing to spend on Christian Watson?
Everything.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, all the waiver budget, whatever you got left. Another good guy that I think could have that second year kind of breakout, Kadarius Toney.
Right.
So those two
he should
guys,
be rostered already if he's not.
Yes, I agree. 49% of leagues right now, so he's not fully rostered. But who else are you looking at?
My team is just trashed, so I already had and started Donovan Peoples-Jones in our home league, and he did pretty good. He hasn't had a touchdown yet on the season, so he's not putting up any huge numbers, but he's getting like 12 fantasy points a week.
Yeah.
He got 14.9 this week, so pretty much 15 fantasy points, which is pretty good. And Watson's coming back in 2 weeks. Could maybe even have an uptick there. Yeah. But even ignoring that factor, he should be rostered, and he's a good low-end flex on a week-to-week basis. Like, if you need somebody to plug and play, get you 12 points, he's been pretty good with that.
Okay. I don't like anyone else. You should get Beckham. I don't.
Yeah. Beckham should be rostered for sure.
I've tried to avoid this whole game with older wide receivers and signing and older players in general, and they're not on a team and then they sign and I'm kind of like, I did that with Julio this offseason. I'm good. Like I'm starting to.
Do you feel like Odell is kind of different though?
I don't know. He's coming off an ACL injury.
And that's the only problem. And it's his second ACL.
It's his second ACL. He's coming off an ACL injury. What is he, in his 30s now? Like, he's just not. It's
29.
It's not there anymore. Like, I just don't.
That does scare me that it's his second ACL.
Like, I mean, he could be. He's a little bit different because he is 29 and he probably has like 3 or 4 more years in him where he can be good. But
if he's coming off 2 ACLs, he might not.
He might just be like dead in the water at this point. But I would add him speculatively.
Yeah.
Just don't have a whole hell of a lot of expectations for him. I don't even know where he's signing. Like, there are rumors about KC. There's rumors about Buffalo. There's rumors
the Giants,
about, the Rams, which I think are now going to be out because he wants to win.
Yeah. Oh, so this is the latest report from Schefter.
Okay.
His list of potential suitors includes.
Okay.
So it doesn't. So that means it could be more. But it includes Cowboys, Bills, Chiefs, 49ers, and New York Giants.
Funny how he would go back to New York when they start winning and the whole friggin' team is changed. All the ownership and not ownership, but
I don't know what's the best. Is maybe the Bills is probably the best case scenario for him.
Yeah, for him. I don't even think that's a best case scenario because, like, Diggs is going to get a lot of work.
Yep.
Gabe Davis is still going to get his work. I don't think Diggs would be damaged at all by Odell, but I think Gabe Davis would be. That would be a huge damage. I think Odell will probably. He already won a Super Bowl, kind of, and I think he'd want to go somewhere where they're winning, but he's the number one guy. And,
the Giants make sense.
That would be the Giants. That would be the Giants.
And it says home. I'm coming home.
Yeah, see?
Coming.
There you go. And then the Patriots beat reporters, for whatever reason, continue to talk about Odell to the Patriots because he has some kind of relationship. That's never happening. I can't. If it happens, I'll be excited, but, like, why?
At this point, too, like, they have too many. They would have to, like, get rid of
too many of the same receivers. Like, Devontae Parker's not great, but, like, isn't a hurt Odell the same at this point?
Yeah. I mean, different type of player, but yeah.
Anyway. All right, let's talk about... Give me one tight end to stream this week. One tight end you want this week.
Gosh.
And then I'll
okay, so if... I'm going to say Foster Moreau.
All right, what the heck happened to Darren Waller?
He got put on IR. He's only played, like, 2 games all year. Okay. Sorry, he's played 4. And then he was like, there's always a player every year. Remember Kenny Golladay?
Yep.
When he was like, I'm going to come back, and then just never did.
Or Michael Thomas.
I think that's Darren Waller this year.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas, yeah. I think Waller's kind of in that category where he's like, they were saying he's going to come back next week. He's going to come back next week. And then they randomly just put him on IR.
Yeah.
So
Busted
he might. Yeah. And then the record too, like I think he might be done. So Foster Moreau.
Yeah, I agree. Juwan Johnson sticks out to me with, as long as Andy Dalton's a starting quarterback, like I think he's still going to get work.
There you go.
The other guy that I really like, and I like this kid coming out of college, Trey McBride.
I was just gonna say him.
I don't know if they're gonna throw it to him as much as they would Zach Ertz. But it's worth a speculative ad in case he does break out, because as soon as that happens, everyone who doesn't have a tight end will flock to the waiver wire to add him. So
yeah, I was just looking at. I mean, it might have been because he wasn't ready or like they didn't have him in the game plan, but he did play a lot this week because of the Zach Ertz injury, and he only had one target. So
yuck. All right,
but he's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There are your waiver wire ads. Week 11 coming upon us very soon. Tomorrow, Thursday night preview. Talking about the Titans and Packers.
Oh, maybe somewhat of a game.
Should be a good week. It means a lot for the Packers, that's for sure. Be sure to check that out. See you later, guys.
See you.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.